cost of production of cars go down, and on the other side, the companies in Europe or North America will benefit from lower cost of components when the components are being produced here and re-shipped over there. So the good news is for the consumer. It's like the story of the computers and laptops, is that eventually prices for cars will not have a tendency to go up because there is a new generation of car manufacturers coming out here that will export eventually to Europe, so, or America, and your next car might be Chinese made. We are already driving Korean made cars, so this is just the natural progression of this trend. Currently, China produces 13 million units per year, and the world market produces 60 million units a year. But the goal in China is to be producing, by 2015, 30 million units a year. And that's half of the production in the world. The little yellow Suzuki taxis that you're seeing in the streets are made by this company. The company we visited had 6,000 employees. And the average age of the worker is 30 years old, and they have 10 years of experience for complex tasks. Whereas the average age, the figure was given to us by our host, the average age in a European or North American car manufacturing plant is 42 years old. So all these factors make it that the price of production of the cars, the way technology comes in very fast into this value chain, and the fact that the components are going to be more and more produced here, the localization rate is going to increase, could bring you to the conclusion that, you know, the next car that you will be buying in 7 or 8 years could very well be a Chinese car. Then we visited, and they're well made. I mean, the quality gap is just shrinking very fast. Then we visited another company called it's in Chinese, I can't read. China Cillian Instrument Group. This was a very interesting company. It's a control systems manufacturing company. They make all the controls that you will find in sewerage plants and airports. Any control instrument that you would find in any large infrastructure plant is made here. And apparently there are 2 or 3 only in China. These are state-owned companies. The car company was a state-owned company. I mean, the ownership of the 51% was the state. Also, this company is a state-owned company. And what is also growing very fast, as you saw, the infrastructure, but also urban transportation, buses and trains, railways. This is developing very fast in China, and all these transportation modes need control systems. This company is specializing in producing those components.
George, I'll ask you to wrap.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so... 50% of the people who work in these companies are engineers, so the education rate is high, and I think, yes, indeed, this is not as sexy as a car company, so I cannot tell too much for you that will excite you. So it's control systems, it's electronics. Very successful. Thank you.
And now Mr. Jackie Charbonneau to close.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I decided to take a special lens when I looked at the visit of this morning, which is to actually try and get some insights to how the Chinese competitiveness is actually, you know, activating its competitiveness attributes in a given sector, which is the high-tech sector. We went to see an operation that was just set up in 2008, started operating, which is located in one of the high-tech parks, which is, you know, the Xiyang microelectronics part. And my report will be just focusing on a few of these attributes. I won't, you know, bother you with the key products and ask you, they do power MOSFETs. Don't ask me what this is. I know now because I've asked the question. But basically, what are the key drivers based on an investment decision, which is, you know, to geared towards creating 400,000 jobs in the high-tech industry in the next coming 5 years. And one of the key elements which I want to flag to you is related to the strategic location of that industrial resort. It is situated nearby a university resort that has 250,000 students there on the spot. Because when we visited the factory this morning, we were told that first of all, 80% of the workforce is less than 25 years old, and a solid 50% of the workforce has engineering degrees. So you can see the linkage between this strategic location of an industrial park and its sort of resource pool in terms of skill sets that is actually located nearby. I confirmed the information about the wage structures, which are exactly in line, the elements that we got to what Torek mentioned. But looking at this factory who is making integrated circuits, the wages element is not the key driver of competitiveness, because it accounts for less than 10% of the cost of manufacturing of those integrated circuits. So where are the other drivers of competitiveness? The factory we visited is 100% Taiwanese owned, and as I mentioned to you, just recently set up. It actually got to up and running at the time where there was a significant market shrinkage in the microelectronics industry, which was the 2008-2009 period. But we see the perfect illustration of some of the elements we were discussing in the last 2 days, which is in fact, what is the level of flexibility and agility that an enterprise has to be able to immediately catch up with the new demand. At the moment, there is a shortage of capacity, and at the moment, within less than 12 months, the situation is reversed, where that particular company has to cope with the market demand, which is in excess of what it is able to supply. Now, in terms of looking at some of the other attributes of competitiveness, we didn't have the time to get detailed information on what I would call the hidden drivers of competitiveness. They have to do with, one of them I indicated, which is the strategic location, but others, such as the cost of utilities, so the facilitation in terms of access to land, the cost of capital. We were told that it is a very intensive in terms of investment, because by the completion of this project, the Taiwanese investors will have invested $1 billion. 70% of this $1 billion is on high-tech equipment, which is actually imported, and we asked the source. It's Europe, Japan, and the United States. So how can an organization that is deciding to invest in China be seeing major advantages, as opposed to like the car industry, which is quite intensive in terms of human capital? And one of the responses is that in the initial investment phase, which is the first phase of the buildings and all the installations, the Chongqing government actually provided financial support to be able to not only, it's not in terms of subsidies, but it is in terms of providing the cash advances and the financial resources that enables an enterprise to have larger payback facilities in terms of its time span. That's one of them. I had mentioned the facilities, taxation, favorable rate and benefits over time. But again, in the context which says, well, why would such a high-tech industry be locating China? Then we had an open Q&A, and by the way, I should outline that the general manager was, hosting us of all the discussions we've had with our counterparts in the last 3 days, the most open to it. He was very responsive, very open. He's were the elements of competitiveness environment related to the just the pool of human resources, but we're also talking about the technology. We asked the question: is that technology all coming from Taiwan? But what is the medium-term perspective? And basically, they have in mind to set up the R&D facility, which is in fact, yes, they have engineering skills, but that site facility will also operate as an R&D center